you were riding hard for the Harden trade, riding real hard, and it didn't happen. I want you to take me into your feelings when you see it pop up on Twitter that it's Brooklyn.
I saw a buddy of mine tweet, "Oh man, like I feel like this is happening like right now," and then 20 seconds later he tweeted "fuck," and I was like, "Oh." And I just knew, like I knew right there that and then I saw the Wolves tweet, and like I was pretty down bad for like a good 48 hours, and I think it was a lot of me wishes I didn't know how deep they were. Like I wish I didn't know that they were literally like an hour away from having them. And then I think it was maybe Friday I read that I think it was a Keith Pompey story that he said that it was like done, that they called in, and Matisse's so they called Clutch, and then they called Matisse's agents and was like, yeah, like Houston's happening like today, and like then all of a sudden it didn't happen, and I was like, god damn, like that didn't make me feel any better, like, you know what I mean, like knowing that they felt so confident about it that they started calling agents and shit. It was just like that.
They busted into the feed of Matisse's vlog. Like, in the middle of it, he's doing a thing, and they're like, "Hey, we gotta talk to you, man."
Matisse was doing yoga, and they're like, "Dude, we gotta chat. Like, can you come down the hall?"
Himself doing yoga.
I need you to come down the hall in like 5 minutes, dude. We gotta chat.
Well, and then predictably, I was texting Sixers Adam before the game, and I was like, you know, he's gonna have like 19 assists tonight or something, right? Like that's so predictably he shows up. He looks totally skinny.
Took his fat suit off. Harden. Right. Took his fat suit off.
He's like chopping up his teammates. He's like hyping them up. He's loving. He's high fiving the refs. He's thanking them.
He's hugging people and shit. He was like, you know, him and KD already have a special handshake from their OKC days that they revamped. I was like, get the fuck out of my face, man. Like I was like, it was a predictable night. You know, he went out and he looked awesome, and everybody looked so much better. Like Joe Harris, I don't think missed a shot.
No.
They all looked so much better, and he literally shooed right into their lineup. And the crazy thing, scary thing, whatever you want to call it, they don't even have Kyrie yet. And like whenever he's supposed to,
he'll make them worse.
Right. Ironically, Kyrie will make them a lot worse. They're probably like, dude, just sit out as long as you want now. We're fine.
Yeah. It was crazy that Nick Vucevic in disguise tried to pick him up as his Uber driver and drive him to what he thought was a strip club, and James said, "No, I know where I'm going."
He's like, "Nah, dude,
and it's
I know where I'm going.
The arena."
He's like, "I've been to Brooklyn before. I know where I'm going, dude. Sorry."
You know, people talked about him a lot, that he was selfish. He had to do it this way, that way. I really never got that sense from him that he cared that much. I don't know.
Zoe, you were obviously like very pro the Harden trade. Trade Ben, trade Matisse.
Whatever we needed.
Maybe even a pick or two, like whatever it took, type of thing. Yep. But not Maxey, right?
I didn't want Maxey to go, and I was very. You know what? This is how life as a Sixers fan works. He had 40 against Denver, and it wasn't even against Denver scrubs. Like, he had 40 against their starting lineup, and of course, 4 days later is when they're like, "Yeah, Harden's getting traded today," and
we want him.
They're like, "Yeah, we want that dude. Like, who's the kid that got 40 for you guys? Yeah, we want him."
I'll take him.
And I'm like, I just knew that would probably be, and I'll backtrack for a second. I respect Morey. I trust him. I trust that he knows Harden better than any of us, and I also trust that I trust him for having a line, and it's obvious that Maxey was the line. Like, Raphael Stone called back and was like, "Yo, Tillman said I gotta ask for Maxey."
Tillman
said to ask for Maxey, and Morey's like, "Tell Tillman to go fuck yourself." You know, like, so I feel it. I understand it. I wouldn't have been upset about it because I understand now moving forward how this team is set up. Like, the war chest is depleted. Like, that's it. So
they have one move.
Yeah, our best currency is playing on the court right now.
Were you concerned about the personality fit with Embiid, or like just blowing up the roster, or like being unhappy or being out of shape, or whatever it is? Was that, as a pro Harden trade guy, did you have any of those things sort of?
I was most concerned with the personality. How is he in the locker room? You know, how would he be with Doc? You know, Doc's kind of an in-your-face guy. Like, he admittedly said, though, that he treats his superstars a little different unless their last name is George. You know what I mean? But, like, he admittedly said he treats his superstars a little different, and he asks a lot more of them. And we're seeing that this year with Joe and the stuff he's kind of demanding from Ben. So that was my biggest concern. I was still 1,000% pro trade, but as one of those people who was like, do what you need to do, my biggest concern was personality and culture fit. But I think this team, the Sixers, have had so much turnover. We don't really have a culture. You know, there's not really a culture that's been established. So that's up to Doc right now. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they've had those conversations. Like, I read Doc was quietly, maybe not so quietly, lobbying for them to not move Ben because he wants a full year of Ben and Embiid. And I mean, that's another conversation, but I'm not quite sure he'll get his wishes.
I think a lot of times the culture that we talk about that we think is there is like we sort of create it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I agree.
that sometimes the way that social media works in creating realities in a lot of ways, I think we can do that by the pictures we see and the interviews and then we say it's like this, and we do it to ourselves every year. We did it last year, and they all fucking couldn't wait to stop playing with one another. So,
they're standing on the bench almost the whole game. I don't know if you're realizing how much they're so happy. The vibes, uncountable. Well, we need contact tracing for vibes. Like, that's what we need to figure. It's like rubbing off on too many people. They're passing the vibes back and forth.
Hugging. Dwight and Maxey have like a little hug and shit that they do. Like, it's the cutest thing you've ever seen. I love it.